Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we are going to Frankenstein the heck out of this old R9 380. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so it's not a new thing adding fans to graphics cards that have either failed or whatever, but I'm going to take a slightly different take on it today. Now, fortunately, I found on Amazon recently these Arctic F9 Pro TC fans. They're actually coming to the end of life, so if you do want to get them, you better be quick. I will put some affiliated links in the video description so you can check them out for yourselves. But in my opinion, these are actually the perfect solution if you have got a graphics card which is playing up, or maybe your fans have died or whatever. At the moment, I picked those up for about £6 each, so £12 for a pair of fans is actually fantastic value for money. And actually, if you go onto AliExpress and try and get the genuine replicas for this kind of card, you're looking roughly the same sort of price. That's if they ever turn up, and also you have to wait weeks for them to actually arrive. So to cut out the middleman, we're going to get stuck in, going to try and fix these onto our graphics card and fix our issues. Now the first issue with this card is it actually works really well, but the fans are completely jacked at 3,800 RPM or something along those lines. Absolutely insane levels of noise. It's just not good. Even with headphones on, you can clearly hear it. Maybe if you're playing Flight Sim 2020, then these would be ideal because you'll have the sound of a jet engine actually in your PC to make it seem ultra realistic. But for most people, you don't actually want that out of your PC. So what I'm going to do is put these fans on. These are 92mm fans, I believe, or 90mm fans, thereabouts. So they're actually fantastically well proportioned to fit on this card. The card itself actually has 90mm fans, so brilliant for that. So I'm going to go through the process of stripping it down, putting the fans on, and trying it all out. Now, an extra twist to this is actually, normally when you put fans on a graphics card, you're ended up with basically a PWM connector, which is all well and good, so you can regulate the fan control a little bit, but essentially it's all through your motherboard, so it doesn't have any direct correlation to the actual temperature of the graphics card. Now this is where the TC version of these fans actually comes into its own. So TC stands for temperature control or thermal control, and actually on each fan is a thermal diode or cathode or whatever the heck it is called. All I know is it is used for controlling heat and speed. So if you have this in as a case fan, then you put it somewhere in your case to measure temperatures. When it gets to a certain threshold, it will start ramping up the fan. As the system cools down, it will cool down again. So pretty straightforward in theory. So all we need to do is, in my mind, is to attach these thermocouples to particular hotspots on the graphics card, or maybe a particular area of the cooler itself, so we just regulate the temperatures. Ideally, this card, we want it to be pretty much silent up until about 40 degrees, or when Windows actually starts using some of the GPU features, maybe gaming, that kind of stuff, and then for it to ramp up. So in theory, we should be able to get almost a zero fan setup on this old Radeon card. So let's take a quick look actually at the fans themselves. So the fans come with 4 mounting screws, as you'd expect. And as I said, you've got the wires that come off it. So you've got 2 wires. One is the thermocouple or thermal sensor, and you've also got a 3-pin PWM style connection. Actually quite a long lead as well, so you should find it quite easy to route around, which in most instances is going to be a benefit, but in our case, it's actually not quite so great, because actually we need to hide this cable in somewhere within the fan shroud or the system. I've got a few ideas going through my head, but that may change as we go through the process. So the fan itself, as you can see, is on these rubber dampeners, so that should aid with noise and all kinds of things like vibration. I am actually going to be using foam sticky pads to actually attach this to the shroud itself. Now the tape I'm using is this special 3M tape, and it's basically heat resistant to some extent. Essentially it's foam back tape, double-sided, so it isn't going to be particularly heat resistant as you get to a certain temperature, but I think for this instance it's actually going to be good for trial purposes, and if I find it works really well, then I might even get out the JB weld or some sort of epoxy to mount these on permanently. But anyway, so that is the fan. Quite a nice little setup, and actually I think they look really nice. So this is the graphics card. As you can see, I've actually got one mounted already, and I have taken the liberty of trying the adhesive out already, and actually even just lifting it up from the fan doesn't seem to want to go, although this has not been used in anger yet, so it hasn't got warm, so we'll see how that works for the long term. But essentially what we've got is we've got these 2 fans, and what we're going to end up with is something along these lines. So we're going to have 2 fans on there, and I'll shoot some B-roll of this just so you can see it all a little bit clearer, but essentially that's how it's going to work. There is handily a little vent there, so I can use that with a cable tie to actually try and cable manage some of this down underneath. Then hopefully I'm going to be able to route it underneath the actual cooler, out the backside, and hopefully come out somewhere where the actual power connections are. So then in theory I can cable manage all this cable work into the actual power coming into the graphics card to give it a relatively OEM look. So anyway, that's the theory. Best thing to do now is to continue taking this apart. We need to remove the existing fans which are in there as well. So yeah, better get on with it. Fortunately, this card, the shroud, actually only has 4 little tiny screws holding it in, so we can get rid of those pretty easily. So now we can lift the shroud off, and as you can see, the fan is already stuck on there, and pretty much it is almost exactly the right size for the cutout which is in there. Now we could, if you wanted to, you could actually go ahead and get a 4.5mm drill bit, which is suitable for the case fan screws, and actually put screws in there to hold it in permanently. For this particular job, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to want to see how it works and how it pans out before I start drilling more holes in the shroud. But obviously, if that's something you want to do, you can do. Sticky pads for me works well. You could use super glue or any other kind of ghetto methods that you have for sticking things to things. So anyway, that's the shroud off. So now we need to remove the existing fans, and also we'll get rid of some of this extra cabling because, well, we don't really need it anymore. Now for those of you that have been long-time viewers of the channel will recognise these fans, and these are ones actually I did get from AliExpress or Alibaba. Can't remember which one it was, one of the two. And they took about 3 or 4 weeks to come through. It cost me around about £10, I think it was. And actually, generally they've been okay. The card hasn't had a great deal of use, so I would have expected it to last a little bit longer. I'm not entirely sure whether the fans have failed due to internal wiring of the fans, which is potentially what's happened, or whether it's just the speed controller actually on the GPU which has failed. I have actually tried to flash the BIOS on this, actually a couple of times, just to make sure it's not a BIOS related issue. But no matter what I seem to do, even plugging it into different motherboards, etc., the fans are always ramping up to their maximum speed. Although when you turn the PC on first of all, it does seem that it just starts off in the normal kind of low RPM mode. It's only when it actually goes past the BIOS that it actually goes full speed. So I'm thinking it probably is a chipset related thing more than the fans, but again, I'm not entirely sure, and I've got no real way of testing that. So we've got 3 screws in each fan and a little bit of wiring to get rid of here. So we'll get rid of those. And actually the wire itself terminates on the other side, so we're actually going to have to remove the heatsink for this. So let's flip it around and we'll remove the entire heatsink. Ideally, if you're doing this yourselves, try and do it on a static free environment, or at least hook yourself up to some kind of static discharge unit. For me, this card only cost about £25–30 when I bought it ages and ages ago, and it doesn't really owe me anything as such, so I'm quite happy to experiment with it. But obviously, if the card you're going to be doing this on is your pride and joy, or it's cost you a lot of money, or you don't have the funds to replace it, obviously do take precautions, and anything you do is your responsibility, not mine. I'm just giving you advice which you can choose to ignore or use if you want to. So there we go, there is the entire unit removed, so we can just disconnect this plug here, power plug. We don't need that anymore. Potentially what you could do, you can actually get these as PWM plugs, which then spit into the kind of normal case plugs. You could, if you wanted to, order those and then connect up the fans, and hopefully it would work properly if you've just got failed fans. But again, because we're not entirely sure whether it's the chipset or the fans which are failing, I'm going to go for the safer option and take control of it ourselves. So we can get rid of those. So at this point we've got our bare heatsink. Now if you want to, you can take this opportunity to give yours a clean, and I'm going to go ahead and reapply some of this thermal paste and reattach the cooler to the graphics card. So that is the GPU back together, and it is pretty naked essentially. And looking at the side, I'm not sure if you can pick up on the camera, but there's actually a really nice channel for running these cables through in a minute, so we're definitely going to take advantage of that. But first of all, before we do that, we need to mount the other fan actually into the shroud assembly, or fan holder, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, this one's done already, so I'm not going to be going through that again. But what I'm going to do is take advantage of the bottom of this cooler. So we've got these triangular areas here, which in the most part make pretty full contact with the areas of the actual heatsink area. Obviously, again, if yours doesn't match up to this and you've got a different card, just look at what you can do with it. You may need to use some kind of epoxy or a putty, that kind of thing. If you want any help or you've got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below or join our Discord and I'll try and help you as best I can or offer some advice. But for what I'm going to do, I'm going to use now the double-sided tape. Again, allegedly, this is relatively thermally stable, so it should be okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these into triangles, or almost triangles, and then try and stick them onto the bottom here, and try not to have too much overlap so it doesn't look too untidy. And then when you're on to the next part, so you don't waste tape, you can just cut a straight line. Then next time, cut a 90 degree and then cut another straight line. I'll just stick that on there. These aren't going to be perfect, but they, for all intents and purposes, they don't really need to be at the moment. That one's definitely not perfect. If you think of it like the sound deadening or the rubber material you get on these fans or case fans, it's essentially the same principle. That one could have done with being a little bit bigger really, but okay. Good thing with this is it's not permanent, it's not glue, it's not an epoxy or anything, so you can, if you want to, you can remove these sticky pads and put slightly larger ones. Or if you want to, you can take real time and effort over it and just put a big strip on there and then use some sort of craft knife or trimming knife to trim it around exactly. Again, it's your project, you do it however you want to. So now probably one of the most difficult bits is actually to peel off the backing of these and then get it ready to stick onto the frame. I'm going to use a pair of pliers and try and separate this because I don't really have fingernails. So there's one. That went surprisingly well. Yep, that one there. Always a top tip, if you are using double-sided tape and you don't have nails, then a pair of tweezers and just run them along the edge and you should be able to separate it. Also, if you're a person who wears glasses, now is probably a good time. And there we go. So we didn't get our fingers stuck to it or contaminate it. Just using those is a really good way of doing it. So now is to stick the fan on. Now, because of where the edges of this one are and the outside edge, it's almost a perfect size fit. So be a little bit careful and try and get these to line up. And try and get it as straight as possible. And there we go, I think that looks pretty straight. So just apply a little bit of pressure in the four corners where you put your sticky pads, just to make sure it sticks to any surface area that it can. And yeah, I think that's lined up quite nicely and actually doesn't look too bad. And as you can see, the circles basically match up almost identically, so that's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is now to take off some of the tension of the cabling. You see I've got a cable tie which I've just put through some of this grill here. So what we can do, we'll give it a little bit of slack. And then with the cable tie, just wrap that around. And that cable ties it into place. So now when we're working inside, we can just move this underneath the fan or the grill or the heatsink or whatever, and we should be just left with these nice cables. So that's that part done. Let's get it mounted back onto the GPU and we'll try and finish this off. And there we go. Essentially, for all intents and purposes, that is pretty much done, and that is what it's going to look like. And I actually think that looks really, really nice. It isn't entirely straight, but bearing in mind that when it's in the PC, it's going to look like that. So, yeah, doesn't look too bad. I think it actually looks quite chunky. And also because the fans now are a slight distance away from the actual heatsink itself, we should actually get a little bit of extra velocity out of the fans because they're not being impeded straight away by having something right up against them. So hopefully it's going to perform pretty well. Okay, so there we go. We're pretty much done. So I've put the cables through underneath the heatsink. So now this comes out in pretty much exactly the same place as the wiring loom for the graphics card. So I can quite easily cable manage that into it. I am also planning on using a splitter as well, a fan splitter, so I don't need to use two connections. I can just use the one. So I can also put this on. So that takes the two connections and again puts it into one fan header. So this cabling can follow our wiring from the power supply into the case as it would normally with your cable management, and hopefully we should be able to tuck that away somewhere nice and neatly. Now to start with, I'm going to leave it so it's pretty much exposed. I have put the thermocouples or the diodes or whatever the heck they are. I've kind of stuffed one into the front end here, and the other one is placed in between this back plate and the kind of VRM area. So that's likely to get the most heat to it. Now, from what I can tell from the packaging, this starts ramping up at around about 32 degrees, thereabouts up to about 40, and it does say that the case temperature is best between 30 and 40. So I'm assuming that's where most of the top speeds are going to be. So if it does turn out to be a little bit too warm, what I may do is just remove the thermocouples and put them possibly in the airflow in the case, just to try and regulate it a little bit more. Obviously, normally a case gets a lot warmer when a graphics card is under a lot of stress and pressure, so that again should work quite nicely. But now all is left really is to put it into the test PC behind and see what she's like. Okay, so we've done some testing, and I'll be completely honest with you, it isn't exactly as I was hoping. Definitely we need to play around a little bit more with where the thermal sensors are, because under idle, great temps, around about 40 degrees, which is what I was kind of expecting, but one of the fans, I think it was this one towards the front, didn't quite ramp right down to the 0 RPM. The one on the other side was getting very close to it, and I thought, well, I'm not going to leave it for ages to see if it happens. I'll just take it back out and we'll do some placement. But essentially, overall, pretty decent performance. This card normally gets to around about the kind of 80 degree mark under full load, doing something like Unigine Heaven, that kind of thing. And we got to pretty much exactly the same. So that is where I was expecting it. But the noise was dramatically reduced, and I mean dramatically reduced. Essentially, you could run this with the case open on full blast, and it wouldn't really bother you too much. You'd know it was on, but it wasn't awful. Whereas before, it literally was like a jet engine. Idle circumstances with the fans just ramped down a little bit, absolutely fine, completely whisper quiet. So these have definitely got some really good applications, and potentially you can use them elsewhere in your case. The 120mm versions of these, actually, if you are building a PC and you want to put some in, you do have to be a little bit considerate because they are one-way fans, so they're more for exhaust than what they are for intake. But again, you can pretty much do whatever you want with them and modify them how you see fit. Other things I probably will change is the routing of the cable for the PWM signal. It was a little bit of a pain in the backside of it being on that side, so I think in that particular chassis where I've got a fan header very close by, it probably is going to be easier just to route them back through. But again, with this kind of DIY thing, because we haven't used any epoxy, any glues or anything, it's really easy just to snip a cable tie and move some cables around to put them where I need them to be or where you need them to be. But overall, I would actually say for the best part of £12 and about half an hour's worth of testing and messing around, yeah, definitely chalk this up as a win. Hopefully this has been helpful to some of you to maybe give you some ideas or tips or things you maybe want to try with your own graphics card. Maybe you've got an old graphics card in the drawer somewhere and it's dying, or one of the fans doesn't work and you can't be bothered to wait for AliExpress to turn up with the fans. Then definitely worth having a play with some Arctic cooling fans. So there we go. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.